Okay, so for cycle two, the brief reflection that I'm gonna do on based on my change of strategy and implementation, um, I would like to comment on the change that I did this week or the past couple of weeks has been adding a ticket out the door to improve the procedures and classroom management in my class. I'm bringing this up because before that, there's a group of students who are receiving some type of incentive and they get to go 10 minutes earlier for my class, or they get to go to lunch or at least 7 minutes earlier to get ahead in the front of the school. If they're doing, like, for example, like really good perfect attendance, they're giving this monthly. So it was causing me a problem in class because a lot of my students felt that after this group was gone, that they were supposed to do nothing in class, and they were finding it really hard to um, stay focused for the remaining of the class. So I added ticket at the door, two separate ones. So I started doing one ticket out the door for the students who were leaving earlier, 10 minutes, and then after they left, I included the procedures. As soon as they were done, they would stand on the back of the classroom. Once they were done, they would show me their ticket out the door, and they would go and just stick it somewhere in the wall where I set it up for them. The other students would remain doing some type of review or some other activity with me for the remainder of the period. And towards the last 3 minutes of class, we would do a separate ticket out the door with the rest of the class. Um, Once they were done, they're supposed to give it to their team leader, and the team leader is supposed to stick it in its corresponding place. So after this procedure was practiced and fully learned, I think it has really paid off. I have a smoother exit. Um, if I compare as it was before, the transition between the two classes, or no, the two groups of students, is a lot smoother now. The students already know. I have some people who was they let me know when it's time for the first group to get ready, pack up, and get ready for the ticket at the door. So I'm not finding any more confrontation from students who were before in the past trying to tell me that I had to let them go early no matter what. I didn't think I felt that if I gave in into that request, I was giving in and losing my power. So I had to regain control by showing them that I was still in charge by introducing this new routine to get out the door. So it's been playing out really well. Now I would like to just go over really quick with some of the results of the survey that I administer with my students. I administered the survey one per class, and I kept them separate. This is actually one of my classes at the time that I administered the survey. Some students were actually absent, so there's just 21 responses right here. But I didn't put all the classes together because I didn't think that was fair. Some of my classes, in fact, all my classes, they have somehow like a little different culture. So I just chose one of the classes where I was having the problem with the ticket out the door. And this is some of the things that I can discuss right here. Uh, I believe you can read the same thing that I'm reading at right here. So I would say that I got a positive result right here. Strongly agree and agree. So over, I had about 80% of the students feel that I do care for them. So that's really good to know. Um, Now we have the next one right here. My teacher seems to know if something is bothering me. Strongly agree and agree. So I would say right here, not as expected. Still trying to build on this facet right here. It's really hard sometimes to well, I'm gonna have rephrase that. I'm gonna say I'm gonna have an open mind, and I'm gonna try even harder to try to find out with the students. And this is something I have done little by little, trying to reach out to the parents. And a lot of the times, once I reach out to parents, I find out that either some situation was going on at home, that I didn't know about, and it was influencing the way the students were behaving in class. For example, I called this student the other day, and the mom almost broke out in tears and just told me that they had been going through a divorce, and one of the parents was really hard on the other one. So that was really tough on their students. So that's something that I had not taken into consideration. Um, I gave her my opinion, and we just agreed upon doing certain changes to see if we can improve a student's performance. My teacher really tries to understand how students feel about things. Agree, strongly agree. So this is another win for me right here, about 80%. I do try. Some students are actually still close to me. I do a lot of one-on-one time with them, and still it's a work in process. But overall, I feel that this is a really good result right here. Student behavior in this class is under control. Agree. Strongly agree. There's no even so it's disagree and strongly disagree. So I would say on this one, the student behavior could be a thing that we're still working on, implementing new strategies, especially in this cycle on with student behavior. I do have a different student population. I have really advanced students, GATE students, but the great majority are just students on the regular population, and I can see how the some of the GATE students do get frustrated sometimes when a lot of students are talking, and this is something I still need to work on. I don't like to seem angry or yell. I do want to be assertive, but still, I know I can do better in this um, scenario right here. I hate the way students behave in this class. This is from student perspective. Disagree, strongly disagree. So most students feel okay with the way most students are behaving. Student behavior in this class makes the teacher angry. Disagree, strongly disagree. So about 70% of the students believe that I don't get angry. It makes me mad, but it doesn't, makes me blow my top off. And I believe students are able to see that I'm able to bottle composure and different ways to be dealing with anger when you're getting angry. Student behavior in this class is a problem. Agree, strongly disagree. So, from their perspective, student behavior needs to be working. It's kind of like similar to the previous one. My classmates behave the way my teacher wants them to. Agree, strongly agree. Disagree, about 50%. Strongly disagree. Okay, maybe just one vote right here. 11 votes. Okay. Yeah, definitely can work on that. Students in this class treat the teacher with respect. Agree, strongly agree. 42% disagree. I think this is fair right here. Um, I have worked with during my student teaching with high school students, so definitely I'm still um, adapting to middle school and how they relate to me or whatnot. Our class stays busy and doesn't waste time. So 80, 40% agree, strongly agree, disagree. So I would believe about 60%, at least 60 to 75% of the students stay on task, and I would say about 15%. This is their perspective. They're not analyzing numbers and actually seeing the results of assessment as I'm doing to try to figure out if this is an actual dome or not. Okay, my teacher asks questions to be sure that we're following along when she or she is teaching. 57 agree, strongly agree. So most definitely students believe that I'm trying to like help them out through scaffolding and asking questions to make sure they're understanding the material. This is a really great result for me. My teacher asked students to explain more about the answers they give. Agree, strongly agree. So I say right here about close to 80% agree that I don't let them off the hook that easily, and that I want to make sure that they actually can process the information. They're not just like um, guessing or randomly hearing the answer. That they're able to explain it to the partner too. In this class, my teacher accepts nothing less than a full effort. I think students right here understand that. Strongly agree. Agree. I am very happy with this result as well. They know my expectations. My teacher doesn't let people give up when the work is hard. So about 80% agree, 10% strongly agree, 2 disagree right here. So that makes 10%. I think this is a win situation right here. My teacher wants me to explain my answers, why I think what I think. I think this is another great result for me right here. It's about 60%, 30, about we'll say right here about 90%, 85% on my side. They understand that they have to be able to explain. So this is another good result. In this class, we learn a lot almost every day. So students definitely know this right here. About 70 and 20% right here. One disagree. One person believe that we don't learn a lot every day. In this class, we learn to correct our mistakes. And even though I have positive results right here, I still think we can do better than that. After quizzes, tests, I would like to give them still take the assessments as a summative, as a not summative, but the other one as building. So I will give them the opportunity to correct their mistakes and fix it. Okay, so it's not considered fully a summative, but it's a work in progress. Even though it's a quiz or that it may be a test, they could still learn from it if I give them the opportunity to realize what they got wrong, how to fix it, and why the new solution or the new answers might be the correct ones. This class doesn't keep my attention. I get bored. About 53% disagree, strongly disagree. So there's people right here, about 8 students out of 21 that they do get bored. Definitely 5 get bored. Try to come up with different strategies for engagement. Okay, my teacher makes learning enjoyable. I would say about 70% of the students like the strategies that I'm using. My teacher makes lessons interesting. So I have right here strongly agree about 73, 75% of students think the lessons that I give them are interesting. I like the way we learn in this class. So about I would say about 80% of students are comfortable right here in this class. Uh, Big number right here, about 15% out of 21 responses, 3 students strongly disagree. They don't like the way we learn in this. So I think I should actually dig a little bit more into this one right here and try to find out why, even though there might be 3 or 4 right here, what is it about this class or the style of learning that they still don't like? That's something I still should do a little more digging into this question right here. Okay, so I think I actually discussed all the same results with my coach this week. I went over all the whole video, not the video, but I over all these results with the teacher from my with my coach and different classes, and Yeah, definitely. I got input from my coach in some of the areas that I could work on when it comes to engagement and still making students accountable for their work. So definitely, I will mention that in the next video. I will talk. Right. Um, I'll see you soon.